Yes. What up, people, man? We back. We gotta do some post-fight commentary with the kid, the one and only. Let's talk about it. But we gotta get to the particulars. I gotta take some Zycam. Get over this sickness. Yo, yo, yo. This is gonna show who my real boxing fans are on a Friday night. You know, I'm sick, so I didn't do anything. I just sat home. Sat home and watched some good old boxing. NorCal, we up in here. Yep. Ego working. Definitely. I knew my real boxing fans would be on YouTube. I'm gonna wait for this to dissolve, then we'll do roll call. Then we'll talk about the fights. You guys can ask questions. I give my assessments. $100K coming soon. 100,000. Even though someone said I was a fraud, but fuck it.
No.
We'll be at 100,000. I ain't even sweating it. That's all. That's definitely coming. Someone from Tucson. You should have went to the fights. You go to the fights? Ego in the building. We about to have a little fun up in the building. Yeah. Somebody do the roll call so I can see where you guys are from. Let me know where y'all at. City, state, zip, Southern California. Mexicans always give us good fights. San Diego, Oakland, California, Sacktown, 916, Baltimore, Tucson, Arizona. Y'all just had some fights. Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, Chicago, Riverside, Houston, Bronx, Indonesia up in here. I don't even know what time it is in Indonesia, but I know they up in here because they like boxing. Dallas, Texas, Victorville, Omaha, 910, 8-Town, Pittsburgh, California, Buffalo, Houston, St. Louis, Chicago, Inglewood, Sun Valley, Sacramento, Iowa, Costa Rica, Seattle, Puerto Rico, Cincinnati, number 52. Now let's talk about some boxing. I miss Indonesia, someone said. I never been there. Now, let me get out the particulars real quick. Oh, you're in Tucson. You just left the fights. First of all, shout out to Top Rank. They promoted a sleeper card because the fights were very entertaining. Shout out to the fighters, of course, and then also ESPN. I enjoyed the card. I thought the card delivered. You know what I mean? The fights were competitive and real good. It's just a sleeper card. You know what I mean? And I'm really enjoying the ESPN fights being back on there because ESPN, they used to have bogus fights. Let's keep it real. You know what I mean? Back before even Premier Boxing Champs, their boxing cards used to be like weak. Like when fighters were getting beat the hell up, then they might go to ESPN. So they weren't great fights. I remember when Bermain Stavern was rematching Chris Arreola and HBO didn't pick it up. I was juiced. I was like, damn, ESPN's getting that. You know what I mean? So that was like one of the better fights, but they weren't getting Pacquiao Horn, which we didn't expect to be a good fight, but it turned out to be a good fight. You guys get me? You know, or the fights today were action-packed with actual like champions defending their belts. You know what I mean? ESPN was kind of like remember when 50 Cent and Cameron were beefing and 50 Cent was like the record label Koch? He said that's the graveyard for rappers. That's what ESPN was kind of like, unless it was a classic fight. It was like where people rebound. Now, I got to talk about the bad. trying to fight this cold. Now, I did everything it said. I turned on ESPN on my TV because my basic cable has ESPN. There's a baseball game on. Excuse me. There's a baseball game on. Then it said to go to the app. I went to I downloaded the app. I used to have it, so it was in the cloud. I downloaded it. I was watching the fight, and then it kept ending, and it kept switching the channels and shit. ESPN got to get that together because you don't know where to turn to. So I'm like trying to watch it. So the Gilberto Ramirez fight, I missed a lot of the middle rounds because ESPN. Hell annoying. So that part pissed me off because I don't watch my boxing like that. Like if I don't have the time and the space to just sit and watch the fight, then I'm not gonna watch it. I don't want to see a person get hurt in round 4 and then I can't see the next round because I don't know what channel it's on and all that. Yeah, shout out to Nirvana, Kurt Cobain. You know what I mean? So that was really irritating. Like, I don't know what they could do to fix it, but fuck it. That was pretty annoying because I actually missed some of the fight. Mick Conlon got a knockout. It was a nasty knockout. I don't really know his opponent, but I mean they're developing him. Michaela, she beat her opponent, so that's 2 Olympians right there. And the co-main event was real good. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez versus Jesse Hart. It was an enjoyable fight. Y'all want to start with that or the main event? Yeah, CSM, I think I seen you on Twitter when we were talking about the fight. Y'all want the main event first or you want the co-main event? Actually, there's similarities in. Like, I like good underdog stories, or just want to at least see the underdogs do well, which they did. But the underdogs were pissing me off because they actually could have won the fights. You know what I'm saying? Or came damn close. But it's just like, I don't know, boxing is a weird thing. It's like, I wish it was I'll start with the co-main event. I wish it was like, if it was like a video game, I wish I could take the controller just with the attributes that they have and play as them and tell them what to do. But it's like they're not doing it. I thought Jesse Hart showed tremendous heart. I don't have all the rounds memorized, but he got on his toes in round 1 and he was trying to outbox Zurdo. He made a moving target. He did pretty good. I gave him the first round. And then he was doing good in the second round. And then he fought, like he was trading with Zurdo at close range, and he got dropped. He got dropped hard. And it looked like the fight was close to being over. His legs look real bad, real stiff. Zurdo's a pretty big dude, and he's good combination puncher, gets leverage on his shots. But Hart surprised me because he went the distance. He went 12 rounds, and he also got hurt in round 6 or so. He got hurt in another round. But he came on late, like, you know what I'm saying? He started off, I gave him round 1, then he got dropped, then he had to work. But I think the biggest issue was he showed nothing was wrong. He had that Philadelphia heart. There was nothing wrong there. But he was letting, letting Zurdo just out-hustle him, outwork him, and take the play away from him. But he started coming on in the late rounds, and he even hurt Zurdo Ramirez in one of the last few rounds with the right hand, and it staggered. But I don't think he realized that he hurt his man. He didn't, round 11, yeah, he didn't realize he hurt his man, so he didn't jump right on him. So he was doing, it's kind of Golovkin, it's kind of like Golovkin Canelo-ish, but I think Canelo Golovkin was fought at a higher skill level from both fighters, if that makes sense. But the actual tenure of the fight was kind of the same. You got a guy who's like has power, but he was like mad busy, and the other guy was landing like maybe even the cleaner singles. You know what I mean? So it was that kind of fight. I think Jesse Hart, he just ultimately it started getting close to that time where he needed a knockout to win, and he just wasn't letting his hands go enough. And Zurdo has a chin. It looks like he has a good chin. But I tell you guys, we did the live stream earlier, and this is what I want to see from both champions. Co-main event, Ramirez and Oscar Valdez, they got to work on their defense a bit. Because that chin is cool, but you don't want to just rely on, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you guys. And I think I think Hart and Ramirez both showed inexperience. For Hart, his inexperience was his game plan it didn't seem clear to me. I didn't know exactly, like, first he got on his toes, he was trying to box, but then he was in the pocket and trading. You know what I mean? I didn't really know where he was going with his game plan. You know what I mean? So I think he could have made some adjustments, and you got to buckle down and be aggressive in spots when you got knocked down and you're letting the fight get behind you a little bit. He tried. He had heart. I mean, he said, I like what he said post fight. He was like, man, a lot of people didn't think I'd make it a distance. But yeah, and the other thing is weird. They said he was taller than Ramirez, but Ramirez looked a little bit taller. I don't know if that's just the way he fights, but the way Hart fights, he kind of leans in a little bit. He didn't look that much taller. Both fighters could have jabbed more, and that's what you do. The thing with Zurdo, where his inexperience showed, is I think he could have hurt Hart, or he did hurt him, but I think he could have pulled the trigger if he did it more intelligently. But it became a little bit predictable, which is why Hart survived. You know what I'm saying? Neither guy used their height, which is a problem at the elitist of level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Andre Ward at 168 was the man. Even like Carl Froch would give both of the super middleweights very big problems, because you're not going to just bull your way in with Carl Froch. He hits hard enough. He has a chin himself, and he could box. You know what I'm saying? So just inexperience showed up in that fight to me, where they could have done some things differently. Ramirez's fight, he fights like he's like a Robert Easter, Paul Williams, where he's pretty tall for the division, but he negates it by the way he fights. You know what I mean? He gives up all of his height. If you got Ramirez crispy behind the jab, where he's just like, oosh, you know what I'm saying, and he's just jabbing, and then setting up his combinations better, I think he'd be less predictable, and he'd be able to get the stoppages. Things like that. But guys fight how they fight, based on the region that they're from and the teachings. So that's just kind of how he fights. Both champs showed sloppiness, but adjusted and recovered. Yeah, I mean, the thing for champions in both main events and the co-main event, they're getting hit too cleanly. You know what I mean? I think somebody argued with me in the hot seat, and they were like, they were saying something like defense don't matter, basically. It does, man, because you're not supposed to be. Because Jesse Hart looked like he had some good power. And had he had a little bit more experience, he might have been able to do something, capitalize. And I'm telling you, you don't want to be in there with James DeGale, an Olympian who has more experience at the elite level. You know what I mean? James DeGale, he's been in there with some pretty big names, especially Badu Jack now, stuff like that. Badu Jack when he's at 68, because you don't want to get hit flush like that, because they have more set game plans. They have educated coaches, you know what I mean, and teams. So it's just not good. Like, I get it. It makes for exciting TV. It really does. But the downfall is chin is like a windshield. It could start as a little chip, but if you keep getting a lot of hard shots in, eventually that chin is not going to be the same just like a windshield. And over time, it's just gonna weaken and weaken and weaken when you've been through too many wars. I've seen guys look like they could take monster shots, and then they get slept by people who weren't even the biggest punchers that they fought. Look at Lucas Matisse. Victor Postal, is he really hitting harder than Danny Garcia at 40 or John Molina and Humberto Soto? Probably not. But going through all those wars and shit. They call defense running nowadays. Well, whatever. I'm just telling you what it's going to be. It was a fun fight. I thought Ramirez won the fight. I didn't score it. I just did the eye test. I just thought he out-hustled, showed the chin, showed heart, and like I said, it makes me mad with some fighters. I'm just like, you gotta, like Jesse Hart, and I'm not saying he wasn't trying because I know he was, and he already recovered from what other people probably couldn't have recovered from, getting badly hurt and working yourself back in the fight. But that's what makes champions. And I think rounds like 8, 9-ish, you got to go for broke. You know what I mean? You might get knocked out, but you have to truly be great. That's where he should have tried to really put a hurting on. And he landed some good singles, good shots here and there, good uppercuts, but he had to overall let his hands go because Ramirez had enough momentum that he was going to win, and he was the champion. So you know how people judge with the champion. Damn ego, you killing right now. I just finished the last live stream. I see you started another one. We working. You already know. Like I said, I'm sick too, so I wasn't about to go out today. I don't feel good. You know what I mean? So I just stayed at home, watched some boxing. Yeah, Jesse Hart needed to throw more combos. Both could have jabbed more. Jesse Hart, I think he needed to work on his game plan. I didn't really understand what his game plan was. Like, he got on his toes, and I'm like, can you sustain that for 12 rounds? Then he was fighting in the trenches, like that tough Philly shit. So you have to, I think your game plan should dictate that more so than the other person. You know what I'm saying? Main event, another good fight, especially just an ESPN random fight for free. I was mad with the switching, but by the time the Oscar Valdez fight came on, it was set on ESPN, so I could just watch it on the TV, and I didn't have to switch around. Shout out to Omar Mercado, $2 super chat. Oscar Valdez, y'all want the good, the bad, the ugly? What y'all want me to start with? The bad? Come on, y'all gotta type faster so we can keep this stream going. All right, one more bad, and I'm gonna do the bad first. All right, the bad for Oscar Valdez is, me personally, I want to see more from a two-time Olympian, because the guy he fought didn't have anywhere near his experience as an amateur or as a pro. They said on the telecast he had like two amateur fights or something crazy. You know what I mean? So I think if Oscar fought smarter, he could have shown more separation. And this is the thing. I was tweeting about this fight too. I understand heart. I understand trying to give the fans a show, but fuck the fans. I'm telling you, all these fighters that do all this, oh, I got to put on a show for the fans, it's just making it worse, because if you notice, this is how the fight went. Oscar Valdez started the early rounds, and he was like crispy, fluid punches, and he was landing hard shit. Then he got too confident, to me. His corner even said that. Got too confident, got clipped, and he got dropped. That's what happens when you fight for the fucking fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? This dude was clearly tough. You don't do that. Now, he did, to Oscar Valdez's credit, after he got dropped, he also got hit with some bad shots, some big shots to punctuate that round. So that was easily a round for, what's the dude's name? Hold on. Cervania, right? But that's not how you know what I'm saying? Like, if he would have, I feel like if he would have fought a more measured fight early and break your dude down, and then that's when, you know what I mean, that's when you open up on him. But the guy was clearly tough, and then you end up getting dropped before him for no reason, fighting for the fucking fans. So I personally don't like that. I'm a fan, so I like an action fight, but fuck all that if it's at the cost where you're taking big shots. So I didn't like that. And again, he's an Olympic. He's appeared at the Olympics twice, 2-time Olympian, and this is a guy who doesn't really have amateur background. And I thought when I was tweeting, I made a good comparison. Cervania is like a sore Rungvisai type. You gotta be smart with him, and he pressures. That's exactly who he reminded me of. He might not hit per capita, he might not hit as hard as Rungvisai does in his division, though. But if he did, then it could have been a lot of problems for Oscar Valdez because he hit hard enough. Because we were just on his live stream, and I don't even think the guy had that many. His knockout percentage wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? I can pull it up, but the guy still dropped you, back you straight out with your hands low. He got to fix that. Hold on. Look, he only has in 30 fights 12 knockouts. He has a 40% knockout ratio. Now, KO ratio doesn't always tell. You know what I mean? Because like Julius Ndongo doesn't have a crazy one and he knocked out Troyanovsky, right? But he hasn't really fought anyone, and he didn't knock these dudes out. So to me, there's a bit of carelessness from Oscar Valdez, who has way more experience. Way more experience. This sucks, I'm leaving. No, you don't have to worry about it. You're blocked. Get your ass out of here, John. The fact that you think you need to tell me that you're leaving, just get blocked. Nobody has time for that. This sucks, I'm leaving. Okay. Collect your L on the way out. And once again, people mad because they don't want to hear the truth. I like Oscar Valdez, and I think he'll learn from this fight. But I do feel like a guy with a 40% knockout ratio who never really fought anyone as good as you and is not a 2-time Olympian, in fact, only had less than 5 fights as an amateur, you know what I mean? I think he could have shown more separation, but he was loading up on most of his shots, so I was wondering if his conditioning would allow for him to keep fighting like that. And other than that, you're in there with the sore Rungvisai type of guy who's just overall tough. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. And other thing, Valdez was kind of fighting and throwing everything at the same speed. Everything doesn't have to be like you hear him grunting and stuff. Everything don't have to be like that. The way you knock, everybody knows, is you'll knock out more people with the shot that they don't see coming. So this dude, Genesis, he's very one-dimensional in my eyes. Like I said, he's like a Rungvisai. Not fundamentally real polished, not anything super sweet, no crazy defense. Wasn't even jabbing. When he got on the inside, he wasn't like just all the time letting his hands go. You know what I mean? He wasn't even refined in that style. Not a huge puncher, not really experienced, yet this guy pushed you into a tough fight that turned out to be very fun. But I just think Oscar could have clearly showed a lot more separation. But fighting for the crowd is not the way to get there. That's just my opinion. Like I said, he wasn't even the biggest puncher. And he admits post-fight that he was shocked. That he was shocked that the guy clipped him like that. But it's not that shocking if you're backing straight out, kind of have your chin up and your hands low. And again, the Genesis dude, nothing really stood out about him in terms of like, oh, wow, he's just a great jabber or a great body. You know what I'm saying? He has crazy speed. Nothing. He was just very basic. Very basic. But Oscar Valdez needs to learn to vary his speed. Because let's say I'm a baseball pitcher for the MLB and I have a killer fastball. If I throw everything 90 miles per hour, I have a chance of blowing my arm out, right? And everyone's just expecting the fastball. So you got to mix it up, just like baseball. Mix up your pitches. And Oscar Valdez, I don't know, it reminded me of like Kovalev when he fought in Russia versus Chilimba. Wasn't his best performance. He's probably trying to please the crowd or some dumb shit. Don't fight for the crowd, fight for you. And you'll actually please the crowd more when they see their champion not getting knocked down. And it could have been worse if he would have got knocked out. You know what I'm saying? So don't let that crowd shit fool you. That's why people they used to gripe about Andre Ward's fighting in Oakland again. It's not easy fighting at home because people do stuff like that. Make fights difficult. And they don't need to be. You see people in the audience that you went to school with and shit. So I think Oscar Valdez will learn from this shit. It was like I said, as a fan, I'm not complaining at all as a fan. This is ESPN free fight. The only complaint I had is ESPN kept bouncing around the channel. But I think Oscar here. Y'all see the tweet? I like Oscar, but he needs to tighten up some things like pulling straight back, hands down. That could cost him versus Gary Russell with his speed and power. That's my honest opinion. You know what I mean? I still see Gary Russell Jr. as the man to beat at featherweight with Lomachenko now at 130 pounds. Like, Gary Russell is too fucking quick. Like, Oscar Escandón was doing pretty good in one of those rounds with Gary Russell Jr., kind of bring the fight to him. And out of nowhere, Gary Russell clubbed him to death and dropped him with a hard-ass right hand. You know what I'm saying? So I think Valdez needs to get out of this fight for the crowd shit ASAP. Not a good habit. Back it straight up. Not a good habit. Listen like this. If you back it straight out the blocks with your hands low, as is, just normally at the beginning of the fight, because that's how he got dropped in round 3 or 4 or whatever it was, right? What are you gonna do when you get tired? What are you gonna do when you get tired? If you do that when you're not tired, what are you gonna do when you get tired? You guys get what I'm saying? So it's a bad habit all the way around. Because when people fatigue, they typically, unless you're experienced, they typically make more mistakes. So if you're already making the fucking mistake when you're fresh, then it's going to be worse when you're tired because now your body, you know what I mean, your hand's lazy to bring your guard back up or whatever because you're fatigued on top of you already were making that mistake. So I don't see that good. And why Top Rank is giving him this level of competition, he needs to correct that, in my opinion. Because Gary Russell Jr., that's just not going to fly. Gary Russell already took his L to Lomachenko, which is experience. He was he almost went to the Olympics too, the Olympic trials or whatever, but he got the flu. He's beat the Oscar Escandón, the mandatories, knocked out a champion, Johnny Gonzalez. That's just not going to be good for that. Even a Carl Frampton, he's quick. Carl Frampton is quick and can box. He might catch it, and he has respectable power. I've seen him stagger, what's his name, in the first fight. Leo Santa Cruz got staggered. And Leo Santa Cruz is pretty tall, looks like he's pretty tough, got a chin too. So don't rely just on the chin shit. So those are the biggest takeaways. I think as far as the back is straight up, hands low, throwing things at one consistent speed. Mir Khan does that, and Danny Garcia timed it. Can't do that at the elite level. You could get away with it versus this dude. Can't do that with everybody, especially like the Gary Russells, Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton, he just split 2 fights with Santa Cruz. That's high-level fights. Santa Cruz fought Frampton twice and Abdamatis, among others. Kiko Martinez and stuff. So this guy was very inexperienced, the Cervania Genesis dude. So he couldn't capitalize on everything. But I'm telling you, man, that fight for the crowd shit is not good, man. What's the good I see? The good I see is he's gaining experience on the job. He's been to the Olympics twice, even though I don't think he medaled. Um, that's still experience. Um, he looks pretty tough. He shows heart. Like, I mean, I don't care if you want to scrap and pocket and stuff and bang and stuff. You got to just be smart with it. You know what I mean? And there were some sequences that were kind of rocky for him in that. But I like his power shots. I like his heart. I like his body attack. Looked pretty tough. Showed heart. What else? I don't know. He looks like he's willing to learn and develop. And see, this is might seem minor to some of y'all, but post fight, he's kind of saying a lot of what I was saying. I was fighting for the crowd and stuff like that, and I was tweeting this before he even said it post fight. So that's actually a good thing. Unlike Kovalev, who he's taking losses to Ward and he's not owning up to it. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that he's actually admitting, like, oh yeah, this was a tough fight, and so that lets me know he wants to be a student of the game. So I think he should do that before he tries to unify. If he tries to unify with one of these champions, you can't make the same mistakes you can make with the guy who's only fought in the Philippines or wherever the fuck he fought beforehand. So it was a fun fight, entertaining fight. I thought, given the step up in class, Cervania did pretty good. He got hurt badly in one of the mid rounds. Got caught with the left hook he didn't see coming. But then another good thing for Oscar Valdez is he made the adjustment of boxing after he dropped Cervania. Cervania started coming on hard, and he kept closing rounds, like round 6 or 7 or some shit, and he was closing them. Cervania, Genesis dude, was closing them very strong, and Oscar was getting tagged with flush shots at the end of the round, backing up, going to the ropes and shit, getting hit, right? But then it was around round 8, he started boxing more. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, this dude's clearly tough. You hit him with a clean ass left hook. It looked like his legs were dead. It looked like he was done, and he's still there. So that's what you're supposed to do. So he made that championship adjustment, and during that rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, or whatever it was, I seen Cervania start searching. He was just like kind of searching for a big shot, looking for his opening to counter, not jabbing, and he's not the faster guy, so he was getting outboxed. That's what you're supposed to do. People always clown Floyd Mayweather, but you don't understand how smart this man is. This man is not stepping in with anyone who wasn't supposed to give him a tough fight and having tough fights. From Castillo to Maidana to Cotto, whoever you think gave Floyd a tough fight were supposed to give Floyd a tough fight. It was no random guy from the Philippines. The random guy from the Philippines that Floyd fought was Pacquiao. You get me? So it's really about being smart and fight your fight. Oscar Valdez has had a lot of attributes way over this Genesis dude. Experience, speed, power I thought it was supposed to be Valdez because the dude only had a 40% knockout ratio, but it looked kind of even. But still, speed, movement, you're better than him at those things. So why are you loading up on shots, keeping one consistent speed? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I'm telling you, man, because there's levels to this shit. Like if Oscar Valdez right now, let's say there was a Gennady Golovkin in his division, then he would have lost tonight to me, because Gennady Golovkin, he's not the most defensive person either, but the type of pressure he does is different. It's different than with this guy. This guy wasn't even jabbing. Golovkin has a great jab. So, you know what I mean? Obviously, I know some of you guys are idiots. Oh, Golovkin can't fight Oscar. They're too different. I'm not talking about them exactly. I'm just saying if it was like a Maidana or a Golovkin, if someone like that was in his division that he just fought, even had more power, then it would have been probably bad. And you know what I'm saying? You got to be smart. His corner was telling him to be smart. Fight smart, box. Fuck the crowd. I keep telling y'all, same shit. Same shit. Floyd is 8 steps ahead of his opponent. Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. The crazy thing about boxing is it seems like that's shunned upon and frowned upon to be smart in boxing. But, and I know there's certain cultures and stuff. If you don't fight the way, you know what I mean, like toe to toe, they might give you a hard time, but they're not in there taking the shots. So fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Would you rather go back to your boys and be like, yeah, I won the fight, I dogged this dude, he couldn't touch me, and you know what I mean, I'm getting off, or I got dropped, he got dropped, it was a total war, and no one's ever heard of this guy. You know what I'm saying? So I just like to see both champions. They had tough title defenses. Teddy Atlas even said, he said Oscar should go back to the win, lose, or draw. He should go back to the drawing board with his team, and I agree. I think he should go to the drawing board. It's not even that you don't have a good palate. You have a great palate you could build up, because there's certain things like heart you can't give Oscar Valdez heart. Victor Ortiz doesn't seem to have heart. So you know what I mean? He has those. He has like crispy power punches, body punches. He has the mindset, and he is a champion. You know what I mean? But you have to build from that, especially if you want to dominate and be a champion for years to come. Looking like Francisco Vargas. You know what I mean? Perfect example. Lacks defense, fights everyone the same way, but after you go through war after war, somebody's going to probably get the best of you. And then you lose your belt. You have a lot of scar tissue now, and nobody's really mentioning your name. Where's Francisco Vargas? Probably taking a year off. You know what I mean? You got to fight with this rather than this. I mean, there's times you got to fight with this, but that's not every time. Especially when you clearly could outclass somebody. Because look at it like this: Oscar Valdez fighting for the crowd, you still didn't stop the dude. So you put on the best show that you could, and he didn't go nowhere. So and really some of your best rounds, minus like the first round or so, was when you were outboxing him. So if the end result is he's still standing and you couldn't stop him, then you could have did that from the beginning. You could have been boxing smart from the beginning, and it wouldn't have been an adjustment. That would have been plan A. You know what I'm saying? And you would have had to make him adjust. You probably would have just boxed circles around him. But people fight how they fight and do what they want to do. I'm just giving my opinion. Yeah, Gary Russell's speed and power. I'm telling you, I really feel Gary Russell's the man to beat. Joseph Jojo Diaz is a good fighter too. But I watched his last fight. I don't know. I think Oscar Escandón probably has more power than Joseph Jojo Diaz. You know what I mean? And Gary Russell was lacing his shoes. He was lacing them. So I don't know. Jojo Diaz would have to outbox the fuck out of Gary Russell Jr. And I think some of the rounds, because Gary Russell has that Broner, he has that Floyd, that Roy Jones, in the sense of he's athletic and he's fast, so his shit off top is going to look flashy, like Canelo when he lets his hands go. You think Jojo Diaz would have lost to Genesis, dude? Damn. I don't know. Like if that, like honestly, that Genesis dude, if he had big power like Cuellar, like bigger power, and fought like how he was fighting, then it could have been worse for Valdez. Yeah, Lee Selby would be a good fight because Lee Selby can box, but he's not gonna beat you the fuck up like Gary Russell Jr. if you're doing the wrong things, making mistakes. So that would be a unification that they should try to take first. Or like, honestly, Gary Russell Jr. I mean, Oscar Valdez, the way he fought tonight. What if he was in there with Guillermo Rigondeaux? What if Rigondeaux was in there tonight? Honestly, what do y'all think would happen? Because Rigondeaux, one of the people he mangled the worst, Amagasa, was a featherweight, and he was like 6 feet tall. Same thing that Moises Flores. That dude looked like he could have been a featherweight. You know what I mean? He looked like he easily could have been a featherweight. And I'm telling you, when you start dealing with people like a Rigondeaux, that back and straight up shit, that'll be bad. Rigondeaux's too quick. And people like a lot of them Cubans and shit, they like when you make mistakes. They sit back and hope for you to make. You know what I mean? Rigondeaux don't throw the most punches, and that's the other thing with that fighting with your heart. Don't fight with your heart when you fight with Rigondeaux. You got to fight smart. Fuck heart. So take your heart, throw it out the window, and fight smart. Because Rigondeaux is not for play. You know what I mean? And again, it's like I'm saying, the Genesis dude wasn't even really experienced. I can't name one person on his resume. And they said he only had like 3 amateurs or something like that. Rigondeaux is an assassin with a good amateur pedigree and 2 Olympic gold medals. So he's just too surgical. You know what I mean? But I think they said this on the telecast. When fighters have flaws or show flaws or fight with flaws, it makes for entertaining fights. You know what I mean? So Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Mata. I mean, all those are dangerous fights because those guys are probably more experienced professional-wise. Not saying he can't win any of those, but what do y'all think? Leo Santa Cruz versus Oscar Valdez. That's a good-ass fight. Who would you favor? Santa Cruz is tall as fuck, too, for his division. Santa Cruz is a disgrace. Why? Why is he all that? Y'all tripping. Oh, because he ducked Rigondeaux? I mean, who didn't duck Rigondeaux? That's funny. My admin put the same thing. Everybody ducked Rigondeaux. I mean, it's pretty much the fact. Yeah, man. Like, I'm trying to tell you, man, boxing is all about levels. Like, even Triple G, as good as Triple G is, some of the shit he could get away with doing versus lesser comp, he couldn't do that with Danny Jacobs and Canelo, who had better legs and or better defense or whatever. You know what I mean? So same thing with Oscar Valdez. He won a tough fight, got dropped, and he said he wasn't hurt. I think he probably was a little bit hurt. But Rigondeaux, if he hit you with that same shot, as you back it straight up, feet crossed, you might not be. Rigondeaux got some snap on his shit because it comes with speed. So, overall, great fights. Regular ESPN. I'm looking forward to Jorge Linares. I'm about to pack it in. I did a bunch of streams today. We'll be back at it. I just want to get my thoughts on the fight. Good stuff. I think Ramirez and Valdez definitely learn from these fights. Linares is clearly the better boxer. I don't know much about his opponent, like not too much, but Campbell dude's supposed to have power, so